Determining the break-even point in units. The break-even point is the level of output at which all fixed costs and cumulative variable costs have been covered. It is the output at which operating income is zero. Each additional unit produced above the break-even point generates the operating profit. There are two different questions you can be asked about the break-even point. You could be asked, how many units does the company need to sell to break even? Or you could be asked, what sales are needed to break even? When asked how many units the company needs to sell in order to break even, we use the formula total fixed costs divided by contribution margin per unit. Determining the break-even point in dollars. The break-even point in sales dollars is found by dividing the total fixed cost divided by the contribution margin ratio. The break-even point in sales dollars also equals the break-even point in units multiplied by the selling price. Notice the similarities in the formulas. Both have fixed costs as the numerator. The only difference between the formulas is the denominator, whether you should use the contribution margin per unit or the contribution margin ratio. Now let's not make this more complicated than it has to be. If the exam question asks for the solution in units, you will use the formula that contains contribution margin per unit in the denominator. Shocker, I know. Otherwise, you can simply use the formula with the contribution margin ratio as the denominator. Now let's look at our example again and find the company's break-even point, first in units. We divided the fixed cost of $40,000 by the $13 contribution margin per unit. This gives us $3,076.93. Now, we cannot sell a portion of a unit, so we need to round up to the nearest unit, which in this case is 3,077. The break-even point for our company is 3,077. If we sell 3,077 units, the company will have operating income of $0, which is break-even. Now we can prove this theory by preparing an income statement for the sales level of 3,077 units. I do not recommend proofing your answers as you take the exam. However, this may be useful as you prepare for the exam. We can find our sales by taking 3,077 units and multiplying by the per unit price of $20, which is $61,540. For total variable expenses, remember, they vary as the activity levels change. We take the 3,077 units multiplied by the variable expense per unit of $7, which equals $21,539. Sales less variable expenses gives us total contribution margin of $40,001. At the break-even point, the contribution margin is equal to the fixed costs. Now, we have an odd $1 here, but that is because we had to round up to 3,077.